زه دوه لاندې پوښتنې لرم. یو تاسو ولسمشر غني سره په ازبکستان کې لیدلی وو او وروسته د هغې د افغانستان او پاکستان اړیکې خرابه شوې. دغه لیدنو کې تاسو څه وویل؟ او بل د سلسله الخیل په اسلام آباد کې برمته شوه، د هغې قضیې په اړه کې معلومات ورکړئ چې دغه د چا لخوا اختطاف شوې وه، برمته شوې وه، ولې برمته شوې وه او د څه دلیل له مخې؟ ډېره مننه.
First thing is that whatever I'm telling you, I told President Ghani. I told him that Pakistan, President Ghani felt that, we should try and stop the people going across. We told them that we can have a joint, we will have a joint inspection. You tell us where people are crossing, we will take action. We assured him about that. Because we know that all the fighting people, if half of Afghanistan is with Taliban, what would they be doing in Pakistan? They talked about families of Afghans, of Taliban in Pakistan. The question is, should Pakistan put their families in jail? What is Pakistan supposed to do with their families if they're here? And then, if there are few Taliban leaders who have families here, the only leverage we have is because of that. The reason why they actually had talks with the Americans and Pakistan was able to make them have talks with the Americans was because of this leverage. If you put them in jail or if you take action against them, that leverage goes. But more importantly, I got the impression that somehow the Afghan government feels that we should take some sort of a military action against, force whoever the Afghan or, who the few pro-Taliban people or Taliban leaders are here. But so number one, we will do everything, but we will not use military force anymore in Pakistan. As I said last time, we were fighting someone else's war and we ended up 70,000 Pakistanis were killed. So there is a consensus in Pakistan that we will not use military action. Short of military action, we will try our best. How much ever pressure they want us to put on the Taliban, we will, because it is in our interest there's peace in Afghanistan. But we will not use military means. We are clear in Pakistan about that. The ambassador. So, we have detailed now through the safe city cameras, we have detailed, charted out the exact path taken by the daughter of the ambassador. And, the taxi drivers, the taxis which the ambassador's daughter took, we got through the cameras, we got the numbers of the taxis, we called these people up, they've all been interrogated. They have, so unfortunately the explanation doesn't tally what the ambassador daughter says and what the cameras show, where she says that she was put in a taxi and taken away and there was beaten up. But there is a picture of that taxi and she's sitting there and she's fine. And the driver was called up in the police officer show. So unfortunately, we didn't get the answers because the police has now all the record, charted all the areas where she went. And it doesn't tally with what her accounts are. There's a discrepancy there. And unfortunately, they went back, so we have no way of confirming what happened. But the account of the ambassador's daughter does not tally with all the cameras which show her going into the 3 different taxis. The taxi drivers were interviewed, got into the police station. It does not match there.
Sir, Afghan government has requested for a team to visit Pakistan for sharing this investigation, and we have conveyed our concurrence for that team to visit next week.
So you've heard that there's a team coming from Afghanistan. We will give them all the information they want. We will give them the pictures from the safe city cameras, exactly the movements, and so that they can go and ask the questions to the daughter when they go back.
بخیر تشکر از این میکنم که فرصت گذاشتین و وقت گذاشتین بر ما. میخوایم سوال داشته باشم در قسمت پروسه صلح افغانستان. این که پاکستان بارها گفته که ما در قسمت پروسه صلح با افغانستان صادق هستیم و همکار هستیم. پس مراکز مشورتی طالبان فعلا در قلمرو پاکستان نشان دهنده چی است؟ تشکر.
We have consistently asked the Afghan government to tell us where these shuras are and where the hubs are, supposedly where the Taliban are supposed to be. You know, we kept hearing about this when the Americans were conducting operations. There were drone attacks in the tribal areas. Americans were, killing people through drones. So why didn't they spot this Quetta Shura and so on? Because we've always asked them to tell us where this Quetta Shura and so on. The thing is, if the Taliban meet within the Afghan refugee camps, as I said, one of the refugee camps is over 500,000 people. There's another is 100,000 people and so on. So it's not easy for Pakistan to tell them exactly, who's coming and where. This has been asked over and over again, and let me just, in the end, say one thing. The reason why 150,000 NATO troops, the greatest military machine in the history of mankind, the reason why they did not succeed in Afghanistan has nothing to do with Pakistan. It's exactly what the Americans did in Vietnam. When they failed in Vietnam, they blamed, some insurgents from Cambodia or Laos, and they actually bombed Cambodia and completely destabilized Cambodia. But they still didn't make any difference. We were told at one point that the Taliban main sanctuaries were in North Waziristan. They kept pushing us that we should take action in North Waziristan. Finally, after 4 or 5 years, Pakistan actually took action in North Waziristan. 1 million people were internally displaced from North Waziristan when Pakistan took action. 1 million people were displaced. Some Pakistani soldiers lost their lives. The whole area was cleared. But what difference did it make? This was in 2014. It made no difference at all. Nothing happened. I mean, it's not that suddenly the NATO troops won the war in Afghanistan. Nothing happened. So, this blaming for a flawed strategy, surely the Americans should have started talking to the Taliban from a position of strength. When there are 150,000 NATO troops, that was the time to talk to them. Talking to them when there's an exit date given and when there are a few thousand troops left, how do they expect that Taliban would now compromise? The time to make them compromise or a political settlement was when they were in a position of strength. Half the Afghanistan is in Taliban, and why do they need Pakistan now?
که امریکا له تاسو نه غوښتنه وکړي چې د پاکستان له خاورې د افغانستان په خاوره کې پوځي عملیات وکړي، آیا تاسو د پوځي عملیاتو یا هوایي عملیاتو اجازه ورکوئ؟ او دویم سوال، د افغانستان او پاکستان د روابط چې اوس خراب شوي د دې عواقب تاسو څنګه ارزوئ؟
Now my question is that what will the Americans achieve operating from Pakistan what they could not achieve in 20 years operating from Afghanistan? I don't know. If someone can convince me that suddenly it would make a big difference and there will be peace in Afghanistan by them operating from Pakistan, maybe we would consider it. But what they haven't achieved in 20 years, how do they expect to achieve right now from Pakistan, having bases there? All it will do is, it will involve Pakistan in a conflict which Pakistan has nothing to do with it. So why would we want another conflict on our hands when already when we were fighting the US war on terror, we lost 70,000 people, over $150 billion lost to the economy. Why would we want to get ourselves in another conflict? So that's the reason why Pakistan sees absolutely no reason for them to have bases and operating from within Pakistan.